Kishore, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. So there was a brief disruption of internet throughout the college.
Okay, sir.
Right.
So we were actually there in the meeting until like 2 minutes before.
Right. Now it's restored. Do you have Naveen's number? Ask Naveen also to join. We'll another 15-20 minutes. We'll complete.
Naveen, he's just there in the group, sir. Well, let me.
Please, I've asked him to rejoin. You can just talk to him. Right. So I think you have understood how to go about reading comprehension.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now you will have to do lots of practice exercises on this because, as I told you earlier, reading comprehension, 70% of the questions are from this. So 70% means nearly 24 questions come on this. So practice more. Vocabulary is also relatively easy, but here scoring is better, but it is time consuming.
Yes, sir.
So you should learn how to answer fast. So the more you do it, it becomes easier for you to know the technique. So whatever technique that I taught you, just keep that in mind, especially the skills, the reading sub skills, the 3 sub skills of scanning, skimming, and intensive reading, right?
Intensive reading.
Yeah, extensive reading, don't bother about it because it's only for learning the language. For the pressure of reading, we use it. In a competitive examination, that doesn't come into picture. That is a very leisurely reading. You read it for 10 minutes, just keep it aside, think what did you read. You don't know a word, you just keep it aside, refer to the dictionary, right? So that is not required in a competitive examination. Skimming, scanning, and intensive reading, these are the 3 things that are required over here. Okay? Right. Now
Yes.
I'll what we'll do is we'll just go back and look at these things. I'll be showing you only questions. You tell me which are the sub skills that you can use in these questions. So what is the author most likely to agree in the following? So let's say there's a question in the following means some 4 options are given, right?
Yes.
So this talks more about the opinion of the author. What is it trying to tell? So if a question is of this type, which sub skill, which combination of sub skills will you use?
Sir, I didn't get your point, sir. Come again.
See, for
Like
this
you told.
question,
Yes, sir. It's likely that the author is expressing his opinion. Then after that.
See, what is the author most likely to agree in the following? Then in the normal question, you will have some 3 or 4 options, right? So you'll have to choose anyone out of that. So while answering questions like this, where they ask you to know what the author has in mind, what type of sub skill would you use? Would you use skimming, scanning, intensive reading, or a combination of what would you use to get answers like this?
Sir, your voice is breaking in between, but I kind of understood what you were asking.
Is my voice breaking?
Yes, sir. It was actually breaking in between.
Okay. Now look at the questions. What is the author most likely to agree? Is it clear now?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
So you're asking like what sub skill are we
what
supposed to
sub-skills? Yeah, so
use?
because we need to practice by looking at the question, this is the sub-skill, this is the combination of sub-skill that I need to use. Then it becomes easy, because when you look at the sub-skill questions, you can easily say, okay, this is how I'm going to tackle this. Otherwise, what
Okay.
students do is they keep reading the entire paragraph or passage from the beginning again, right? So for this question,
But sir, for a question like this, we have to go through the entire paragraph, no, sir, to
yes,
understand what
so
the
what
author
sub-skill?
really
You will have
is
to go
trying
through
to
the
convey.
entire thing. So what sub-skill would you use? You'll have to use the
Uh,
skimming.
Sir, skimming. Okay, sir.
Skimming, because skimming is quickly going through to get the gist or the main idea, right? So you would be
Yes, sir.
using skimming. If you get a question like this, you'll have to quickly go through skim, and
Skim.
the options also would be there. So in the option, you will have some keywords. Keep looking for those keywords. So skimming and scanning is what you're going to do. Plus, once you come to that particular place
Skimming.
where through scanning where the answer lies, then you will do intensive reading. So all the three sub skills you would be using in this, but start with skimming. As you skim, scan for the specific words that are there in the question, and then do intensive reading
Yes,
once
sir.
you get that words. Second one, what's the most probable context in which the author is talking about Pizza Hut?
Most probable context.
In which the author is talking about Pizza Hut. Now identify the keyword in this. Right? The keyword could be, may have one or two words. Right? So identify that, then
Yes.
it becomes easy for you. What is the keyword that you have here in this
Oh,
question?
I mean, here the author is talking about Pizza Hut,
Ah.
but then
So here,
most
the
probable
word
kind of context.
Pizza Hut becomes
Pizza
the
Hut,
keyword.
Pizza Hut is the probable context.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
it becomes a keyword.
Keyword.
So you are going to scan for the word Pizza Hut in the passage, right? And then you
Yes,
will
sir.
do
Exactly.
intensive reading along with that. Okay, right. Third one, what is the
Okay, sir.
appropriate title to the passage?
So this has to be done with the intensive reading.
You will have to start with skimming and then intensive
Skimming,
reading, right?
scan,
Skimming will
skimming
help
and
you.
intensive reading.
Scanning, you are not going to, right? Because here it says what's the
Yeah, sir. We are
appropriate
not.
title, right? So you'll have to
Yes,
understand the
sir.
main idea, then look at the title and then go ahead with. For these things,
Then look at
you
the
cannot
suitable
look at the
options.
question. You'll have to do skimming, understand things, and then look at the options and then go ahead with. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question is, according to the author, why was Spencer so popular in the 19th century? So what is the keyword here? What are the keywords?
Keywords. Here we scan through the passage to look out for what he was popular for.
Right. So you have to looking for the word Spencer and popular.
Spencer, unpopular, exactly.
Then you also have in the 19th century, right?
19th
So
century, yeah.
the passage might have the word Spencer. So you'll have to look for the main word popular. Then does it relate to 19th century? Where there you, when you do intensive reading, you will get to understand that. So scanning plus intensive reading is what you
Intensive
would be
reading.
doing, right? But when you scan, normally we also skim, because when you look for a particular word, quickly we keep going through. So skimming becomes a part of almost any question. What meaning of await could you infer from the passage? What is the keyword?
Okay, so here, so the word await.
Await. So you
So I
will.
would read as so we would scan the word.
Very good.
So
So you would
we
scan
would
for the
scan the
word.
sentence that has await.
Yes. Okay.
And then yeah,
Do intensive
by
reading.
judging the
Once
sentence,
you know, read that sentence,
we
intensive
give the
reading.
appropriate or suitable meaning.
Yes, come out with that. Good. So scanning and intensive reading is what we would be doing. Next one is, what are the hurdles that social networking has to overcome in order to benefit the business world? So what is the keyword or keywords?
Keywords. Hurdles social networking.
Right.
Overcome. Yes, sir. And
right?
benefit business world. So yeah,
Business
you'll have
world
to look.
size. So you'll have to look for mainly hurdles, then social networking. Then once you come to that particular place, then you can look for, do I have the business or what are the advantages? So you'll have to look for. So again,
Advantages.
scanning and then intensive reading, right? Why does the author call Lotus Connections a social software platform? So keyword here is Lotus Connection. So
Lotus
you will keep
connection.
looking for where Lotus Connection is, and then you will have to do some intensive reading, because again, uh, social software platform, where is the reason given? So Lotus Connections could be specified in the passage in two or different places. So look for all those places where Lotus Connection is, and then look for social software platform also along with that, right? Last question is, why are
Yes, sir.
salaries for skilled workers rising? So you'll be looking for
Sorry.
the
Yes, sir.
words
Yeah, is salaries for the
salary rise.
skilled
So first
workers.
you will look for
Yes.
salary rise.
I,
Where does the word salary rise or pay rise like this they come, and then you do intensive reading and see whether it relates to skilled workers or not. If it's skilled workers, again you look for the scan for skilled workers, and then you get your answers, right? So this is how we
yes,
go
sir.
about identifying the question, and then we use the appropriate sub skills over here, right? So uh, we will focus a lot more by doing exercises on this, right? So you can Google, get lots of exercises. We'll also be sending you some exercises with the answers, and the explanations for the answers will also send it to you. Now,
Yes, sir.
I spend another 15 minutes or so with you on talking about one more thing, that is it's known as parajumble. Parajumble.
Jumble.
Parajumble, right? I'll just orally give you an idea into that, and I'll also send you some samples if time permits. Okay, right. Now, parajumble is very easy provided we understand how some techniques over there, right? Provided we understand some techniques over there, parajumble is easy. Parajumble means the word para, so it's a paragraph. A paragraph might contain some 5, 6, 7, or 8 words, sorry, sentences, right? So what they do here is they would give you the sentences of a paragraph, but they will not be arranged in an order. Those sentences won't be arranged in an order. They'll all be jumbled. That's why it says para jumbled. Jumbled means the order will be not in the sequence it has to be, but here and there they'll put first sentence, the what is supposed to be a first sentence could be the fourth sentence, the third sentence could be the last sentence, like this. So what you are required to do here is you are required to look into, read the sentences, arrange them in an order, the order in which it has to be, right? So it is similar to writing a paragraph. While writing a paragraph, what we do, we have our ideas, but we arrange it. This is the sequence in which it has to come. There has to be some connection or coherence between each sentence, between each idea and other things. So here, you are not required to write a sentence, but you are only required to arrange the jumbled sentences in an order. And they give you this, and then you are given 4 options. So in each option, the sentences would be like a B, C, D, E, F, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will be like that. The options would be like a C, F, D, whatever, some combinations would be there. So you will have to identify what is the correct order. Now for this, there are certain techniques, right? Now before that, let me also tell you this. When you talk about parajumble, there are 2 ways in which in competitive examinations parajumble is given. One, what they do is they give the first sentence and also the last sentence, ask you to fill in the middle sentence. Then it becomes easy. But sometimes they don't tell you which is the first sentence, which is the last sentence. They just give the sentences at random and then ask you to arrange it in an order. So the first step in such situations is you will have to find out what is the first sentence, right? Because once you establish this first sentence, then you can start building up, connecting the other sentences. So how do I find out the first sentence? There are some techniques for that. When you look into English, when we talked about reading comprehension, I told you each paragraph has got a main idea, right? So one is normally an idea is introduced in the beginning. So it could even be in the first sentence or in the middle. So here look at, is there any sentence which introduces the idea? Can that possibly be? That's one option you can have a look at. But more than that, you will be also looking at certain things. How does a paragraph, how does one begin? So you have something called as nouns, proper nouns. Proper nouns are like names of places, persons. So if you have those things, then you identify, okay, in this sentence, the name of a person is given or the name of a place is given, right? So that possibly, I'm not saying definitely, but I'm saying possibly. So you can identify like this, because normally the names of a person, the name of a person or a place, we don't just start like it is a it is known as the garden city of Bangalore. We don't start our paragraph like it is known as the garden city of Karnataka, because when a person reads, he will not know what does it refer to. He will not know which place we are talking about. So normally we introduce Bangalore. Bangalore is the capital of Karnataka. It is known as the garden city of Karnataka. Then you know it refers to. So whenever you have these proper names of a person or a place, that again is a possibility that it could be the opening sentence. And where you have some articles like a or an, articles like a or an, that again could possibly be an opening sentence. If you have the article the, then it suddenly is not, because we don't start a sentence or a paragraph starting with the, because it refers to something else. So by looking at certain things like this, we first have to identify the first sentence. Then we have to look at the middle sentences. Middle sentences, there are again some 4 or 5 ways of identifying it. One, I told you, if the definite article the is there, then that suddenly would be the middle sentence, one of the middle sentences. It cannot be the opening sentence. More importantly, there is something called as transition words. Transition means moving from one to another smoothly. So transition is moving from one to another, one place to another, or from one sentence to another. Here in this context, in a smooth way where there is coherence, there is a connectivity. So there are words, there are some words. I'll send those words, the PPT will be sent to you in the booklet, right? For example, let's say, yeah, even the word for example, if a sentence has got for example, can it be the opening sentence of a paragraph? A sentence starts with for example. Can it be the opening sentence?
No, sir.
It cannot be, because when you say for example, what is it giving as an example? What is the concept that has been talked? Because normally concepts are introduced first and examples are given so that they act as supporting evidence for that, right? So words, these are known as transition words, similar to, but, yet, still, altogether. So when you have certain words or phrases like this, they cannot be the opening sentences. They have to be the middle sentences, right? So you'll have to look for certain things like this. And you also have something called as uh, hierarchy, or we call them as sequencing. If numbers are given, right, or a process, how does a fan work, or how do you manufacture a car, there are step by step. So you start having words like first, second, third, right? So you know that second, third, they are all words that come in the middle. Or after first, it may say next, after that, like this also. So those words, when a sentence starts with those words, then they'll again be the middle words, right? So these are certain things. And you also have something called as acronyms. Acronyms are short forms. For example, NHCE is an acronym. Means NSCE stands for New Horizon College of Engineering. IMF is an acronym. IMF stands for International Monetary Fund, right? UN, United Nations. So whenever in a sentence you have these acronyms, short forms, where the full form is not given, they will be the middle sentences. But in the same sentence, if the full form is given, they possibly could be the opening sentence because they become proper nouns. So like this, we find out a few things and then we go ahead doing arranging these sentences, right? So there are certain techniques which you follow, it would be easy. And in competitive examinations, you could get somewhere around 2 or 3 para jumbles. So this is the easy one. If you practice, understand these techniques, it becomes easy for you to score marks easily, right? And once you know this is how people think, this is how, and please do not think the way you want it to be. The way, because they already know these paragraphs are taken from some articles, some writings. They, the order in which the writer has written, they go by that. So it has to be according to that, right? So in the next class, we'll have some exercises, or if you want to do an exercise, I'll send you right now one exercise. Try and do that, and then we'll
Yes, sir.
I'll send you one exercise now. Do you think these things are useful for you?
Yes, sir.
Right.
I mean, I've already learned them. I mean, this reading comprehension and this passage is one. I mean, these are the things I'm good at. But then, yeah,
Very good.
it's a revision for me. So yeah,
Oh,
still
good,
useful.
good. Right, I'll send you this exercise which you can do. I'm glad that you are working on all these things, right? So I wish that you get into a good B school. So I've sent you the passage. You can go through, and
Yes,
you
sir.
can
Going
send
through
me
it.
the answer. I've given some instructions related to this pronoun and other things. Just ignore that. Go ahead with starting with the A, B, C, D, E, F. So arrange the order in which they should be. The para should be. So here you'll have to first identify the opening sentence.
Yes, sir. I think it has to be E, sir.
It has to be E. Okay. So what is the combination? Which option?
Um, Sir, so yeah, there are. So since I'm opting E as the first sentence,
Oh,
so the option will be limited to three.
3. Yes. So the
So
process
in
of
the three
elimination
options,
that
yes,
also
sir.
comes into play. Most of the times, out of the 4 given options, 2 options would be very, very close to the answer. The other
Yes,
2
sir.
may not be. So here, using the process of elimination, the 4th one you can eliminate because you feel E should be the first one. So 1, 2, it's only between 1, 2, 3. Good.
Yes, sir.
That's one method of technique of arriving at. So elimination is one of the best ways where you narrow down the choices. Yes, good. After that,
Yes, sir.
after E,
And okay, and according to my perception, the next sentence has to be C because in the first sentence, the author is telling that the work is not intrinsically valued in India, and then
yes.
he further emphasizes about the work.
While
So C
working,
has
one
to be
is
on the
swept
line.
by, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, which means if the second sentence is C, then you will be eliminating option 2 and 3,
Three.
right?
Yes, sir.
Because you've already eliminated the 4. So option 1 would be your answer, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
But it's incorrect.
Mhm.
Now, I'll tell you why it's incorrect also. Work is not intrinsically valued in India. So it's talking about not being valued in India. And the next sentence has to be, although there are large regional variations, right? It's not everywhere. So there are some regional variations, right? Uh, it is not infrequent to find large number of people sitting here and there and doing nothing. So that is what it is. It says, first sentence says, work is not intrinsically valued, but there are regional variations. In some places, they are valued and people do work. But the sentence also says, it is not infrequent to find large number of people sitting here and there doing nothing. So we find many people sitting idle. But some people work in an organization, right? That's there. So next, what does it mean? Then you know, if A has to be the second one, it is between 2 and 3 because 2 has EA and 3 also has EA, and both 2 and 3 they have D as a third one. So DB automatically becomes. How does it? Because it says sitting here and there and doing nothing, right? D
Yes, sir.
says even those who are employed. So there are 2 categories: people who do not do anything, people who are employed. So even those who are employed often come late to the office. So that becomes the third sentence, unless they are forced to be punctual. Then now choose between 2 and 3. Which one do you think is?
Oh, yes, sir. Sir, is it option three?
Yes, option 3 is the correct one
Yes, sir.
because you have to look at sentence 3 or B. So
Yes, sir.
D says, even those who are employed often come late to the office unless they are forced to be punctual. So after that, if you look at C, it says while working, that's a possibility. But then again, when you look at B, it says they come late to the office. The next, what follows is once in office,
Once in office.
right? So B becomes the next sentence, right? So option, the third one is the correct. EADBFC is the
DFC.
correct sequence in which it is, right? Good.
Yes, sir. When you actually mentioned that two options can be very close,
Oh,
so yeah, I actually had a doubt it could be either one of them.
either one of these
But still,
things,
I
right?
had gone for option A.
Right, good. But what you did, identifying the opening sentence as E, you eliminated the 4 totally. Because
Yes,
you
sir.
know that A, when you look at A, it cannot be the opening sentence because I told you there are transition words. So A sentence starts with although. Although is a transition word, right? So when you say although, something must have been told before that, and although is something that's contradicting, right? So good.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'll give you. Do you want to do one more?
Yes, sir, I can do.
Okay, I'll give you one more, and then we'll wind up. Yes, I've sent it. You can have a look at it. So in that I mentioned use the structure approach. That's one of the techniques that we use, the structure, how sentences or a paragraph is structured, the introduction, the middle, and the conclusion. That way you can use the structure approach over here.
Yes, sir. So eventually it's either C or D which starts here.
Hmm.
Sir, so option B should be somewhere in the middle, right?
Option B, that is sentence B, you mean, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sentence B is
So
should be in the middle because it starts with the in case of sports person.
yes, sir.
Right.
So I would start the sentence with B.
You
I
would
mean, sorry,
start with
not B. Sorry, D. Yeah.
D. Yes. Okay. Because D is the opening sentence, correct?
And then
So now what happens is when you are sure that D is the opening sentence, you are going to eliminate
other
option
two
A
options.
and option D. So it's
Yes,
only
sir.
between the B and C.
Yes, sir. Now, sir, is it option B, sir?
Option B is the next sentence because sentence D says it mentions two things.
Yes, sir.
Sports administrators and sportsmen and sportswomen. So B says in the case of sports persons, there is room for sympathy, but the apathy of the administrators. So it's a continuation of that because the first sentence it talked about both. Now here it's saying in the case of sports persons, it is okay, but then not in the case of, right?
Exactly, sir. I mean, here they're not blaming any players or
Yes,
any
yes.
specific. They're blaming the administrator. So organization they're blaming. So it has
What
to
is
be
the next
DB.
sentence? So it is DB
CA.
CA because in that sentence B, it says apathy of the administrators, which has even led to sanctions. The word sanctions means, what does the word sanction mean?
Sanction means something that is given approval.
No, that is one meaning. That's where I told you when we talked about reading comprehension, words should be read in the context of the sentence. What is it? Sanction, approving something is also sanction, but then sanction is also used to talk about as a penalty, right? For
Okay.
example, you might have heard about uh, the USA has put some sanctions on Iran because they did not obey. So sanction means they say these things we are not going to support you. So sanction, again, it has a meaning of penalty. So this sanction in C, it says a hefty penalty of 10,000 US dollars. So option B becomes the correct one. D, B, C, A is the order in which the paragraph is there, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So it was nice interacting with both of you, and I am glad that you took interest in solving all these things, and you were able to come out with some good answers also, right? So
Yes,
please
sir.
continue doing it. We'll meet next week. I think most probably next Thursday
Yes, sir.
we would be meeting. It could be either I may come or somebody else from my department would be taking up. So we look at these things, right? So thank you. Have a nice evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yes. The meeting, sir.